Welcome to Dimension Lens, where things are always a little out of focus. It's autumn time again in the forest of Evermere. You look up at the trees surrounding you, awash with colors of orange, yellow, red, a beautiful array of brushstrokes with hints of a bright blue sky fading behind them. The forest is vast and, on occasion, dangerous. You have wandered these woods more times than you can count, however, and the path is ingrained in your mind. Your feet need no instruction. They simply carry you along, your heavy boots crunching over fallen leaves and twigs, lining the packed dirt trail. The air is cold today. Your nose is beginning to turn red as you walk along, but you are snuggled up, warm and cozy in the clothes you chose to wear today. What is it that you're wearing? Perhaps an old hand-me-down sweater from your grandparents, well worn with age but still soft and durable, with patches at the elbows and a crisscross pattern across the chest. Perhaps a pair of overalls you painted yourself, with twisting vines down the legs and flowers of every color adorning them. Or perhaps a cloak you found at a vintage shop, made of crushed velvet, swishing with every step you take. As you walk down the path, you gaze off to the side, surprised to notice something there that you have never seen before. A little cottage, a trail of smoke pluming upwards from its chimney, filling the air with a nostalgic scent. Is it an apple pie, packed with spices and sweetness? Is it a thick, homemade stew with fresh vegetables from the garden? Or is it the scent of hot chocolate, bubbling in a cauldron, waiting to be served? You hesitate here on the path. Your destination is on the other side of these woods. Every time you have come into Evermere, you've stayed on the path, never daring to stray for fear of what you might find. In this moment, however, you are filled with courage and curiosity, and for the first time, your footsteps land off the path, winding your way down to the cottage. The instant you leave the path, your world is filled with even more color. The birds seem to sing louder, the rustling of the branches calling to you, accepting you as a part of the world. Admiring your own bravery, you approach the door of the cottage and raise your hand to knock. The door of the cottage is unique, you notice. Is it bright yellow with dark green metal accents and a knocker in the shape of a bird right in the center of the door? Is it rounded, painted baby pink with rose decals across the edges? Or is it an iron door with little intricate patterns melted into it, seeming to tell a story that is ancient and primeval? You knock on the door. There's some shuffling inside the cottage as an old woman's voice calls out to you. "Hold on, my dear. I'll be there in a moment." The door swings open and reveals to you a charming woman with kind eyes surrounded by the wrinkles of a lifetime of smiling. She gives you one such smile and waves you in. "You must be a traveler," she says. "I don't see many people here in Evermere. I hope the woods didn't give you a hard time. Come in, take take a seat by the fire and warm up before you go on your way. You step into the cottage, your boots hitting against the hard wooden floor as you walk over to the crackling fire. Above it is exactly what you had imagined as you smelled the smoke before, and the woman doesn't hesitate to serve you a portion. She waves you over to a seat to relax in while you eat. What is the seat like? Is it a soft, squishy, tufted love seat that you simply sink into the moment you sit down? Is it an elegant armchair with leather cushions and sturdy wooden armrests? Or is it a wooden bench, perfect for sitting alongside friends and telling stories while watching the fire? You sit down, enjoying the old woman's hospitality. She sits down near you and you feel yourself drawn to her. You ask her how she came to be here and explain that you had never seen her cottage before. She laughs. I have been here since the first seed of the first tree sprouted its first root. I am the sky, the ground, the air you breathe. Of course you did not notice me. What reason would you have to question what is natural to you? As you look at the woman again, you see the wrinkles on her face are more like the veins of leaves, abundant and thin. She's right, you realize. She is the forest itself, the forest you had always been too scared to look into. You wonder if, perhaps, you should be afraid. After all, this is the unknown, and the unknown is always scary. Before you can decide, the woman notices you shivering and pulls a blanket down from a shelf. Is the blanket a quilt, patched together from scraps of fabric left over from a lifetime of sewing projects? Is it a chunky knitted blanket made from the softest yarn that conforms perfectly to your skin? Or is it a slightly scratchy, old patterned blanket with pumpkins all across it that reminds you of old, fond memories? She unfolds the blanket and wraps it around your shoulders, and with it all of your fears ease. You are warm, you are full, and the fire crackles contentedly. Your eyelids begin to feel heavy, drooping despite your best attempts to keep them open. You are safe. You are in the embrace of the forest. As you fall asleep, the old woman hums, and through the vibrations, you feel every root of every tree. You feel the scamper of woodland creatures across the ground, the leaves falling from branches and hitting the soil, the bubbling and babbling of the brook. You see it all as if you are the sky, the ground, the very air, until you are fast asleep in the most comfortable dream you could imagine. When you awake the next morning, you find yourself standing at the end of the path, your destination in sight. In your hands is a basket full of food with a note tied to it. Is the ribbon thick with a deep red color that'd be perfect for a bookmark? Is it a thin white thread with a few colored beads on the end that clink quietly? Or is it a daisy chain, perfectly in line, despite how many hours it must have been since they were cut? You pick up the note and flip it over to read it. There, on the card, in beautiful script made with dark green ink, is a simple message. You are always welcome to stray.